Can we envision a world where we rise up in the morning with a renewed mindset, an inspired spirit to do greater works, and return home to rest with the feeling of accomplishment and fulfillment? Welcome to the Coach Scofray podcast, where we bring you transformative, inspiring, thought-provoking insight for the love of coaching, for the love of leadership, for the love of human capital development. Follow and share to inform, inspire, and elevate. Welcome to the Coach Scofray podcast, and on this platform I'm committed to share, explore, interview, insights, transformative ideas, deep dive of the human capital development, leadership, and coaching. Yes, there's no way I wouldn't have mentioned coaching. On today's episode, I want to look at the subject matter, taking decision versus decision making. Taking decision versus decision making. One of our human function, that this part of our brain, this part called the prefrontal cortex, is designated to do beyond measure, is executive function. The logics, the 1 + 1 is 2, being able, it's just like the ant. So I keep referring to the prefrontal cortex as the ant part of the human body. It's no wonder that the old book, the Bible, says that if you want to learn wisdom, go to the ant. It's because of their executive decision abilities. So why then is there a difference between taking a decision, which we mostly say, even in the boardroom, we need to take a decision on this one. We need to take a decision on this one. We need to take a decision on this one. You must take a decision about this one. Why doesn't this easily flip out of our mouth that let's make a decision about this one? Why doesn't it come with ease for us to say, let's make a decision, instead of saying, let's take a decision? There is a research out there that suggests that 5 to 10%, when you look at decision making, you see the difference have started coming up. The difference between taking a decision and making decision or decision making. The difference is going to begin in just as we talk. 5 to 10% is only rational. Really? Yeah. You may find time to read the research by Babashiv, 2024. And there are other correlating research on that apparently 90% to 95% of what we deem as a decision has been made, consciously or unconsciously, entails our feelings, entails our moods, entails our experiences, entails the environment, entails our emotions. And because of my background in multiple brain integration techniques, we've been able to coach people using the 3 brains, bringing them into coherence and congruency, where they get to know that decision making or decisions they make in that moment of coaching session is more profound and wisdomic than earlier decisions they took. Because taking a decision is a thinking thing. You remember I shared that dopamine-driven leadership and decision taking without the presence of vasopressin together with oxytocin leads us down the path of loneliness, depression, anxiety, burnout, and stress. Because decisions that you make or we make that lacks the values, the purposes, the ethics of our businesses. Look at the rewards. Is it by accident that in a lot of businesses in the corporate, the more they make money, they break their own records, they fail to check the mental health of their staff. They fail to check the mental impact of their staff. They fail to check the growth of their staff, the culture of their staff, the corporate culture. So it is mission critical for us to be able to decipher the difference between taking a decision and making a decision. And there's one of the most powerful animations I use in my corporate trainings when I'm talking about this subject matter, where a neuron from the head went to the heart and say, "Hey heart, we've got a decision to make." And he said, "What is it about? What are you looking for from me? You are the supercomputer, go and deal with it alone." And he says, "No." He said, "But you are the emotional one." Even how the neurons say you are the emotional one is how we've chased emotions out of the boardroom. We've chased emotions and feelings from our conversations. We've chased emotions and feelings out of our living as human beings because supposedly all that we are is about thinking. But it is paramount and profound for us to understand that in making a decision, you must allow your three brains to align, come to coherence, congruency, so that wisdom, we call it, we have AI, right? We also have adaptive intelligence. And they are different. Adaptive intelligence is born out of the beingness of the human. Then artificial intelligence is from the creativity of human to support our ways of being. So for me, I'm not one of those who are scared of the rage, the buzz, and the trend of AI. No way. No way, I'm not bored and I'm not scared at all. Why? Because it is out of adaptive intelligence that we create things. Because anything the human ever created that lacked purpose, values, and ethics, it comes back to destroy us. Anything. So in the boardrooms, never say to people, "Don't bring your emotion into this." It is sheer ignorance that makes us say that because we didn't know or we don't know. So decision making factors your emotions, factors your feelings, factors your experiences, factors even the environment and the moment and the ecology in the room. Whilst thinking decisions, which we call taking decision, only think linearly. What does the result say? What does the outcome say? What we fail to understand is that between the ideation and the results, there is the people and the process. And it is mission critical that you factor the people and the process. That is how come you cannot just take a decision, because every decision that has been taken has been at the detriment of millions of lives. Look at COVID. The Prime Minister of New Zealand, I've forgotten her name, Angela Merkel, the Chancellor of Germany. Were we surprised? No. Don't say because they are women. No, it has nothing to do with being the woman. It has everything to do with knowing, experiencing, understanding the wisdom behind decision making, where you bring all that there is of you to the space. So in actual sense, in decision making, there isn't a table, there is a space to occupy. Whilst in metaphorical sense, when you are taking a decision, you are looking for something. Like we say, what do you bring to the table? And this is how come I always promote and advance the course of personal coaching in your life. Because coaches support you to make decisions. Whatever you say to your coach, you will be questioned. I remember one time a client was responding to a question and she kept scratching the neck. And by my training and certification, there is so much the body says from the subconscious that this is not conscious of. So I asked, I said, so when you said this, your hand was on your neck like this. What is that? Well, coaching is a confidential journey, so I will not be able to share so much. But it reinforces that our body speaks volumes than we think. So if our body, this your head, I learned in art school, at least I think it goes into your body 8 times, 7 or 8 times. Just the size of your head goes into your body 7 or 8 times. So it means on top of your neck, you only have one brain. Beneath your neck, you have your gut, your pelvis, your heart, and your other giftings, autonomic nervous system. Are you surprised that the brain stem, are you surprised that it is not in the skull, but it's in that junction? This goes to buttress the fact that when you are making a decision, look at the lingo. And don't forget, we are neuro-linguistic beings. Okay, neurology and our languaging come together. Making a decision, because when you need to make something, it calls for more concerted effort. It is ecological. It is ontological. But if you need to think a decision, that is where all our ego comes in. So the decisions you take, check how it suits your ego versus the decisions you make, how it makes you feel fulfilled and accomplished. This is for you to know that in your boardrooms, in your C-suite meetings, strategic sessions, question and say, are we here to take decision? Or are we here to make a decision? Both give you results. One soothes your ego, it's frenzy. It's just like, it's just dopamine. It's just like the energy drink. The other nourishes and nurtures you. The choice is yours. Decision making or thinking? Decision. Enjoy. I'm Scofray Nanayao Yeboah. I am a transformational executive coach, multiple brain integration techniques trainer and master coach. And I offer corporate trainings that are grounded in neuroscience, ancient wisdom, research, and best practices. This podcast is here to hold thought-provoking, life-altering, transformative discussions and insights. Thank you.